This
is TLV1.
TLV1 radio.
Great mixture.
I like television.
This is still V1.
This is
Tel Aviv is a beautiful city.
Great city, great radio.
TLV1.
This is TLV1.
From the TLV1 studios in Tel Aviv, Israel, it's Louis live. Now shows me, Ari Louis. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is well. This is Louis live from the Holy Land. We have a great show tonight. We'll speak with Andy Dorf from Dorf on Sports in about 40 minutes to talk about Ray Rice being released from the Baltimore Ravens in a result of assaulting his pregnant girlfriend on tape. We'll also speak with the sports rabbi Josh Halickman about Sofo, the big man from Maccabi Tel Aviv, not going with the team to Germany. But on the line right now discussing a little football, also known as soccer, is Mark Gordon. Mark, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Ari. How are you doing?
It's great to have you on, and there was a big match with a lot of famous soccer celebrities, Maradona included, to bring peace. An interfaith match last night, in partly due because the Pope Francis, is a big soccer fan. Tell us a bit about the match.
Yeah, it took place in Rome's Olympic Stadium. The Pope, I think partly inspired from his visit to Israel and trying to bring President Abbas and President Perez to Jerusalem, has taken it another stage further and has decided to set up an interfaith football game, working with an Argentinian footballer called Javier Zanetti, who spent 20 years, I think, at Inter Milan. When Zanetti retired, he set up something called the Puppy Foundation, which was working with interfaith activities. So they decided to put together a football game in Rome last night. 50 footballers of every different religion you can think of, Hindus, Muslims, Jews, Christians, I think even a Sikh, were all playing. 25 aside, only 11 on the pitch at any one time. But if you look at the list of some of the people that played, you've got Diego Maradona, probably the greatest footballer to ever play football, Roberto Baggio, Lionel Messi was supposed to be there but was injured, players like Suleiman Tari from AC Milan, Andriy Shevchenko, and representing Israel, Tomer Hemed.
Right, there was an Israeli that played.
Yeah.
And were there a lot of Jewish players that played outside? We have Tomer, but a lot of Israelis or Jews, or was it mostly Christians and Muslims?
I think it was a bit of everything. There's always the joke about Jews and sport, and you'd struggle to find too many good Jewish sportsmen.
Right.
Tomer Hemed is the only Israeli playing football at probably the highest level at the moment, playing in Spain. So he was playing. Reading through the reports, there's no mention of anybody else. It's very difficult to actually find out exactly who the 50 players are. Obviously, the famous players like Samuel Eto'o, Paolo Maldini, Andrea Pirlo all get a mention. But Hemed gets a mention mainly because he scored and was on the winning team.
Now, what's interesting is how the reaction was around the world, and there was some positive reaction and negative reaction. You have Palestinian Olympic Committee member Assalam Haniya. I apologize, Assalam, if I mispronounce your name, but he said that this match was a betrayal to the blood of the children of Gaza who died. So is there a lot of negative reaction to this game of peace?
Honestly, it didn't register hugely on the sporting scale. The game's taking place at the same time as the first qualifying games for Euro 2016. So the likes of England and Germany have been playing over the last few days. So from the point of view of the English-speaking press, the England game was more important. From the point of view of European football, Germany, who are the world champions, almost lost to Scotland, which is unheard of given the difference in class. So, it didn't make huge ripples in the world. It's a nice event and something to look back on. Maradona said, it was a great event because Maradona was famously known as the hand of God for handballing a football to win a game in the 1986 World Cup. And he said, it wasn't my hand, it was the hand of God. And he said, now it's the hand of God and the hand of the Pope together.
Right.
So from that point of view, in Israel, certainly, it wasn't a huge impact because, this was an event organized by the Catholic Church. So in a country that's predominantly Jewish and Muslim, it doesn't make a ripple. The story that made more news, and I think it was where you were quoting from, is the Perez Center were organizing an interfaith game between Israelis and Palestinians, but actually twinning up Israeli football towns with football teams in the Palestinian territories. And there was a game between Sderot and a town called Yatta, which is south of Hebron. That has made more news in Israel, certainly.
Right. That. Yes, I'm sorry about that. That was the game, actually, that the Palestinian officials said that was a betrayal. Talk about that game and with the idea behind that game and how it got started.
I know through Israel there are a lot of schemes. I know where I work, we're involved with a number of interfaith football schemes, and there's a lot of funding worldwide. Football is seen as a way to bring people that share a common interest together. Children love football. Israeli and Palestinian children idolize Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Chelsea, and it's something they have in common. So one way you bring children together is to make them play football, and then it really doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. The most important thing is putting the ball in the back of the net. So a lot of money and a lot of time has been invested in interfaith football schemes. I know Arsenal Football Club run a camp here, a training camp, which I believe is open to all faiths. And these things are really successful. Kids get to mix with people from other faiths and other religions, people they wouldn't see on a day-to-day basis in their schools. And they realize at the end of it they're the same. So, it's a very important tool. The problem is that football in the Palestinian territories is used very much for politics. The Football Association and FIFA actually ban countries that have politicians involved in football, but that doesn't seem to apply in the Palestinian territory. The head of the Football Association there is a guy called Jibril Rajub, who is also, one of the deputy chairmen of the PLO, runs a number of security committees and things like that. But he also runs something called the Palestinian Supreme Council for Sport and Youth Affairs. And he basically said it's an Israeli attempt to cover up crimes against Palestinian athletes.
Wow.
He's seen as a future successor to Abbas, and he's much more hardline than Abbas.
All right, so we might not have too many of those type of games. The last question we have for you, since the game that the Pope sponsored and Maradona was involved and Messi was going to be involved, but he didn't make it, that game might be played again, right? I mean, that was a pretty popular situation. It had a lot of star power. Can we see more games like that in the future?
I think if you brought something like that to places like Israel and played that game in Jerusalem, I think it would have an enormous impact. But to do that, you'd have to bring supporters from both sides. And logistically, at the moment, I think that's a problem. I think putting a crowd together with 15,000 people from Palestinian Authority and 15,000 people from Israel and putting them in Teddy Stadium is not a simple logistical event. While it happens outside of Israel, it's difficult for it to have too much effect.
Right, but ideally we like to have the interfaith game be played in Jerusalem because that's the city of most faiths around the world.
It would be a great thing. Again, I think Palestinian football has to leave behind the politics. One of the other people that came out against it was a member of the Palestinian Olympic Committee who's called Abd al-Salam Haniya,
right,
who just happens to be the son of Ismail Haniya, who's the former Prime Minister of Gaza, who basically said the Palestinians that were involved in this game should be brought to trial and immediately punished for treason against the blood of martyrs. As long as this is going on and people are involved in sport like that, it's going to be very difficult to do. So maybe if FIFA were involved in trying to depoliticize football in the Palestinian Authority, then these initiatives could go further.
All right, we'll certainly keep an eye on this. I like the idea behind the game, and I'd love for it to be played in Jerusalem, and I'd love to have Maradona with you, Mark, on the show. Maybe we can all do that.
Great.
That'd be a lot of fun. I don't even really know who he is that much, but I'm sure you do, so that's great.
Try Wikipedia after the show.
Okay.
Very entertaining.
All right. Mark Gordon, everyone, thanks so much for being on the show today, Mark.
Speak to you soon.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to switch gears and discuss a little Israeli basketball with the sports rabbi, Josh Halickman. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
Sister and a cousin only started with a little kiss. I like what she was doing when she taught me how to walk this way. She told me to walk this way, walk this way, walk this way, walk this way.
All right, back here on Lewis Live on TLV1. Thanks again to Mark Gordon for coming on the program. You, of course, can follow the station on Twitter at TLV1.FM. We're going to switch gears and talk Israeli basketball. On the line right now, the sports rabbi, Josh Halickman. Josh, welcome back to the show.
What's going on, Ari Louis?
It's great to have you back on. And, of course, Maccabi Tel Aviv is set to go to Germany and play, but they won't have their big man, Sofo. Tell us a bit about that.
Sophocles Shortsianidis, the big Greek center from Maccabi Tel Aviv, was on their, of course, EuroLeague winning team last year. Decided to come into camp this year about 20 kilograms too heavy. Unfortunately, that's about 50 pounds too much.
Wow, so they're not
going to the off season.
Yeah, and they call him Baby Shaq for a reason, I guess, right? Shaq did the same thing when he played for the Lakers. He come in a little overweight. So they actually told him what the coach staff said, you're too fat to come play with us. You're going to have to lose the weight before you play?
That's basically it. He's staying here in Israel with a personal trainer, Regev Fanan, and he's going to be working off that extra weight. There's rumors, it's never been substantiated, however, that his contract calls that he has to maintain a certain weight and not go over it in order to get paid. That's always been the rumors. Nobody's actually ever seen this clause in the contract, but that is what the rumors have said. So he is staying back to make sure that he loses the weight and gets in shape so he can be really ready for when they have to actually play real games next month.
You know, sports rabbi, I'm concerned or confused about the mindset of a professional athlete. He knows he has to be in shape. He knows he's paid a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he knows that if he shows up out of shape, he's not going to play. So why would he be 20 kilograms out of shape?
The word is that he is nervous. When he is nervous, he likes to eat, and he can't control himself. And that is basically it. Was he nervous over the summer because of the war? Could be a good reason. He was in Greece with his family. That is the word, that he was concerned and worried. And when you get into those type of funks and type of a depression, you can know and have to do certain things, but unfortunately your body and your mind just don't allow you to do those things. And he came in overweight, but I'm sure he's going to take off that weight pretty quickly.
I mean, he is human at the end of the day, obviously, even though he's a professional athlete. But if you can just tell our listeners, I mean, Sofo is a huge part of Maccabi's offense. He's also a great shot blocker. If you could just tell us the importance of having Sofo ready to go in shape in the lineup.
Of course, he is a dominant center. He doesn't have the height that some centers have, but he certainly has the body. And not only is he fantastic defensively, being able to really shut down a team, and not only just shut down a team in the paint, he alters the play of the team. People know they can't drive into the middle of the paint for an easy 2 points. He's going to smash you down. Either he's going to block you, he's going to be there fairly, or he's going to pick up a foul, or he's going to hurt you. The next time you're going to be thinking about driving into the paint, you're not going to want to do it on him. And on the offensive side, he is a machine. I mean, if he gets into gear, he can rattle off 10 points in a quarter, which he did very frequently last year, and that sets the tone for the game, especially in a EuroLeague game. You put him in at the beginning of the game, he puts in 10 points in a 5-minute splash to begin the match. You're already in great shape.
Again, I'm speaking with the sports rabbi Josh Halickman here on Lewis Live. Now, also Sofo was a big part of winning the European Championship and the Israeli Championship. And what I'm curious about is, like you said, that he was perhaps nervous. If David Blatt was still around, do you think this would have happened?
Could have. I do believe it could have happened very easily. He has a very good relationship with the now head coach, Guy Goodis, who was the assistant coach. Not only that, he could have been a little worried about the fact that Pini Gershon is now also on the bench, and that was his coach when he played in Olympiakos in Greece. And the two of them didn't always see eye to eye, so perhaps he was a little worried about that, knowing that Pini is going to be a influential role on the Maccabi Tel Aviv team this year. And, it could have been. Again, I think it's a personality trait, and I have no doubt that he'll take off the weight. He's done it so many times, and he's going to take off the weight. And not only that, I got to tell you, I've met him on a number of occasions. He's one of the nicest human beings you will ever meet.
Yeah, everyone says that. There's no doubt about it. He's a gentle giant. He's a teddy bear. And, I like him, his game personally. And if you could also tell our audience, the whole Pini Gershon, Guy Goodis thing is very interesting because Pini Gershon basically took a step down. He used to be a coach of Maccabi, a head coach, and now he's the assistant to Guy Goodis. Why would he do that? Why would he take a lower position considering what he's done in the past?
I think it's a number of factors. He's, mid-60s at this point. He's not as young as he once was. He still has plenty to contribute. I think sitting behind a microphone just, it does it for him a little bit. But I think a guy that's a basketball lifer wants to be on the bench, and it could be Pete Carroll, for example. Look how many years he was on the bench. He was on the bench of the Sacramento Kings well into his 80s. Some guys just want to stay part of the game and being in the locker room, and it's a very different atmosphere when you're behind the microphone and broadcasting than when you're with a team and you're living with the team and you're traveling with the team and you can influence. I really believe that he has no ill will towards Guy Goodis. I think he wants to be there as a contributor. I think they have a very good relationship, and I think it's if he can contain himself, which that's going to be the big question mark right now, but I believe he can. He will really help Maccabi Tel Aviv out, and his experience is unprecedented.
And Guy Goodis certainly paid his dues, was assistant for a while, and it is his time to be the head coach. Tell us a bit about the tournament in Germany that Sofa won't be a part of, but this is the beginning of the season. It's support Maccabi, get off on the right foot. So what type of competition will they be playing in this tournament?
A lot lesser competition that they'll play in the EuroLeague and probably in the Israeli League. They played a team yesterday, Telkom Bonn. They defeated 89-55. That was their first match. Totally, they revamped the whole roster. Jeremy Pargo is back. He left the team a couple of years ago, went to the NBA. He went to Moscow, now back with Maccabi. Brian Randall, who's been in the Israeli League, is now going to be playing on Maccabi. You have guys like Sylvan Landsberg, who was more of a role player. He took center stage yesterday with 15.6 rebounds. You have Hines, who's a brand-new player coming in. You have Alex Maric, who they signed as a center up until December, and see if Sofa gets into shape or not. But my bet is they keep Maric for the long term. He has a lot of potential. He's played well in the past, and that was a good signing. They have some younger players, and, of course, Alex Tyus chipped in yesterday, 11 points, 8 rebounds. They got a number of good performances, but the competition, they're really the best team in this little mini tournament. There's no question, but it's good. It builds their confidence. And guess who they have to play at the beginning of October, Ari Louis?
Tell us. I'm curious.
They get to go to the NBA and the NBA preseason and play the Brooklyn Nets and none other than the Cleveland Cavaliers, whom David Blatt will be coaching.
Wow.
And LeBron James, will he be in the lineup? That's always a question in preseason games. I'd be very curious to see that game because I'm sure a lot of people in Israel will be staying up into the wee hours of the night to watch Maccabi Tel Aviv play the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, that's going to be great. Going up there, old coach, that'll be fantastic and very good PR for Israel. Sports Rabbi, we have to run. Before we let you go, tell all the folks how they can listen to your show.
Check me out, of course, on footballisrael.com. You get to hear the cheeky back heel. We talk about Israeli soccer. HolyLandHoops.com. Check me out. We also talk about basketball over there, Israeli basketball scene. And, of course, you can go to thesportsrabbi.com and check that out as well. Follow me on Twitter, @TheSportsRabbi. You always have a lot of good stuff there. Plus, we throw in a little Ray Rice and other activities in the American sports scene because, of course, we still have to be connected to our old home.
No doubt about it. Absolutely. Sports Rabbi, thanks for being on tonight on Louis Live and being on the show. And obviously, we will certainly be in touch.
Appreciate that. Ari Louis, of course. Keep up the great work. The #1 sports broadcaster in Israel. Love your show each and every week.
Thanks so much, Sports Rabbi. Appreciate it. Be well out there.
Speak to you later.
All right. That was Josh Halickman, the sports rabbi, talking about the Israeli basketball situation with Maccabi Tel Aviv against Sofa. Will not be traveling with the team to Germany. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to talk about a very special marathon that occurred recently to raise awareness for PTSD. This is Louis Live on TLV1. All right, back here on Lewis Live, great music there. And, of course, all my music is created by Tomer Gersherman. He does a great job. And producing with me tonight, also doing a great job, Lior Peleg. We're here back on Lewis Live. You can follow the station on Twitter at TLV1.FM. Thanks to the sports rabbi, Josh Halickman, for coming on. We're going to talk a little running right now from the Rami group. Rami Yilzari coming back to the show. Rami, how you doing out there?
Fine. You caught me in the middle of a group practice in Park Yarkon.
All right. Well, that tells you how dedicated you are, that you're in the practice right now, and it's 7 o'clock at night. We won't take too much of your time, but obviously we have to have you on because of this this running race that occurred to raise awareness for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, for those who don't know what that means. Tell us how that race went.
We're going to in 14th of November. Yeah, I think it will be the second time, so it's kind of a tradition. It will be a race that's open to everybody, family, youngsters, soldiers, Jewish volunteer from the States, happy festivals to raise awareness to PTSD and the struggle of veterans and children in the South with the phenomenon of PTSD.
Yes, and obviously that is quite common in Israel because of all the wars and because everyone goes to the military for the most part. You're obviously going to have this happen. And my question is, are there a lot of people that have post-traumatic stress disorder but don't feel comfortable talking about it because it's a hard thing to talk about? Do you think that occurs a lot?
Yeah, I think, as you said, I think there's a lot of people here, I would like to say, coping or dealing with PTSD. And we lack of awareness, I think, in Israel. So it's part of the problem because to be aware, it's part of the problem. And I think if we do much better in the field of raising awareness to the phenomenon, so people will get treated and it will be easy to them, and there will be less suffer for those people.
Now, interesting, according to Natal, that is the Israel Trauma Center for Victims of Terror and War, it's over 750,000 people in Israel, and the population is only 8 million, suffer from PTSD. So it's a huge number, and this race coming up is bringing more awareness to that number, right? Yeah.
I think this is the number. I think it's almost 10% of the population, and I think most of this population are either not aware that they have PTSD, or even if they are aware, they not get sufficient treatment for it. So we still have a lot of work to do in this field.
And not to get too personal, because obviously it's a traumatic story, but with your situation, you did not realize you had it right away. You found out later, after your service, that you had post-traumatic stress disorder.
It took me 8 years after my injury in Lebanon, 83, to get treatment.
So, I mean, that's just something that people should realize, that it's not something people realize they have. They understand it perhaps later, they get diagnosed. And you had things like you had trouble eating, or then you would eat too much. Is that a common characteristic of people that have PTSD?
Yeah, there's a variation of symptoms, anxiety, sleep disorder, insomnia, weight loss, weight gain, problem with anger management. So many symptoms that's why it's, and the expression of the symptoms, it's different between people, so that's why it's so hard to understand that you got it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time people are ashamed that they have something that, need treated by psychiatrists or psychologists, or they need medicine or things. So I see it as part of our duty to lower the shame barrier, to raise awareness, because if you don't wait many years to go to treatment, there's a lot of chance that you will be much fine, you will be healthier. And the problem with the PTSD, it's not like any other sickness that only the men and women that are sick are suffer from it. You not intentionally create suffer for people around you, your family, your friends.
And, it's sad to say, but this past summer, obviously with the war, there are more people that have it. I mean, that's just the way it is. And hopefully they get it diagnosed right away if they do have it rather than wait a few years. And your race coming up November 14th, I think is going to help a lot of people do that. So God bless you for doing that. And before we let you go, tell everyone listening to the show how they can get involved, how they can run, how they can donate, and all that good stuff. Go ahead.
You can find in the internet, if you look into, we call it in Hebrew, Rasim Betzeva, or Natal, or you can call Natal and the phone number 1-800-363-363 and get all the details.
All right. Rabbi, again, this is a huge honor to have you on, and what you're doing is...
And thank you to have me.
Yes, and it's very important that this is the PTSD is made more aware to the public. This race will help do that. So again, thank you for doing that, and thank you for being on the show tonight.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. That was Rami Yilzari. Again, the race will be on November 14th. That's to raise awareness for PTSD. We'll take a quick break and more charity to come, this time golf style. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
השעות שנשארו היו מלאות אהבה ברוב הימים שברחו לנו הייתה איתי והייתי איתה ברוב השירים שעטפו את החדר הייתי כולי שערה ומה שנותר לבסוף מהשבר ברוב המקרים נותרה שתיקה ברוב הבריחות ופרצי הזעם אני זוכר מה שבוע קרה ברוב הרוחות וסופות הגשם בסוף היום חזרה ברוב השירים עוד זוכר את פניה נוגות לא נוגות בדמעה של שתיקה ברוב הדמעות השתקפו את החדר כמו גוזר על חייה למות במיטה יש ימים שנשארו והם רבים והם שלה ויש שעות שמלאות כולם בריח שלה ורוב הזמן הייתה נשארת וכשלא הייתה בוכה ואם זה כך ואם אחרת אני נשאר שלה השעות שנשארו היו מלאות אהבה ברוב הימים שברחו לנו הייתה איתי והייתי איתה ברוב השירים שעטפו את החדר הייתי כולי שערה ומה שנותר לבסוף מהשבר ברוב המקרים נותרה שתיקה ברוב הבריחות ופרצי הזעם אני זוכר מה שבוע קרה ברוב הרוחות בסופות הגשם בסוף היום חזרה ברוב השירים עוד זוכר את פניה נוגות לא נוגות בדמעה של שתיקה ברוב הדמעות השתקפו את החדר כמו גוזר על חייה למות במיטה יש ימים שנשארו והם רבים והם שלה ויש שעות שמלאות כולן בריח שלה ורוב הזמן הייתה
All right, back here on Louis Live. Thank you for joining us. A great show we've had so far. More to come. On the line right now from Israel Golf is Alon Granot. Alon, welcome to the show.
Well, it's great to be with you guys.
Yes, absolutely. And there was a tournament recently to help benefit the Afula Eye Department. And I find that very interesting because a lot of charitable causes are for things with the war or different types of things. Why particularly did you choose to help out the Afula Eye Department?
The reason that the Gash Golf Club is doing at least one charity tournament, usually more than one. The reason that we arrived or found this hospital is that the head of the eye department in this hospital is a golfer. And he came with the idea to have a charity tournament for the hospital.
Okay, so that makes sense there. I see the connection. And tell us where the tournament was located and the type of turnout for the tournament as well.
Okay, the tournament held in Gash Golf Club. Gash is located between Herzliya and Netanya, to the guys that knows Israel, a bit northern to Tel Aviv. In order to have as much as possible golfers in this day, the club closed the course for the whole day. And in the morning, there was a pairs competition, 18 holes. And in the afternoon, there was a single competition of 9 holes. So actually, it was 2 shifts for one good cause. And in the end of the 9 holes competition, there was a ceremony and the show of a band from the area of the hospital, and there was an auction of art goodies and things like this, and all the money was donated to the hospital.
All right. Now, I understand that you yourself did pretty good in the afternoon. Tell us about that.
You're embarrassing me. Yes, it was 9-hole course. The par is 35. I scored 38, and I won the competition.
Nice. Now, did they think that perhaps there was a bit of conspiracy, because you're involved organizing it and you won, that maybe, you did something and helped yourself win, anything like that?
Actually, I was not involved in the organization. My only involvement is that I am the captain of the club.
Ah, okay. Sure.
But this is the only involvement I had, and of course, the captain I have 5 strokes giveaway. So.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Now, this golf club, I find it very interesting because golf is a game that is not as popular in Israel as I would like it to be. I think it's a great game. It's very popular in the United States. You think that golf will start to go more in popularity levels as time goes on? You have tournaments like these, and you have Zohar Sharon, who's just a worldwide renowned golfer. Do you think golf will improve its popularity in Israel?
It's a process. There are key elements that needs to happen in order to do it, and we are doing our best to promote it. The first thing is to have pro golfers. Currently, Israel has no golfer that's participating in any tour all over the world. There is one lady, her name is Leticia Beck. She graduated from Duke University last spring, and she's now in the last stage of the Q school for the LPGA. In her best, she was number 20 in the world for amateurs. This is one key. The other one is to have more golf courses in Israel. Currently, we have only 2 clubs in Israel, one in Caesarea and one in Gash. There are programs for at least 5 more courses more in Israel. It will help to have more golfers and more options for tourists, for golf tourism, to come and visit Israel, because currently we cannot offer like you are in the States offering in Myrtle Beach, or the Turkish offering in Belek, or the Greeks are offering like you are coming for, or Marbella in Spain, that you are coming for a week of golf and you can play in 4 or 5 different courses. The third element is to have the knowledge for the golf in Israel and people to identify golf as a sport and not as a luxury activism for rich people. Right. I'm a mid-class person, and under any definition that you will pick or choose, and I'm playing golf. And sorry to say so, I'm kind of addicted. But definitely golf is a great sport, and the fact that the golf become an Olympic sport is encouraging the authorities in Israel to support the golf more and more.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will happen.
Yeah, and that's what I want to see happen, since it is Olympic sport and there's not really Israeli representing golf so much as we like to see. I like to see more involvement. That's one of the reasons, in addition to the tournament, the charitable tournament, I want to have you on because I'd like to see it go to a higher level. You had a great point about tourism because people in the United States will travel to, let's say, Arizona or Florida just to play golf. They bring a lot of money to those states, a lot of money to hotels and restaurants. If we could do the same in Israel, we'll bring a lot of tourist money. That will help everybody, right?
Definitely. I have to admit that myself, I'm every November traveling to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina to play golf as a tourist.
There you go. Right there. So that's
Yes,
proof
definitely.
of what I'm talking about, that we need to
You're
get...
absolutely right, my dear friend. Absolutely right.
We got to get, more involved. And this is a sport that a lot of people can... It's very difficult to play, but it's a sport everyone can learn to play, no matter what size you are. And that's why I think it's very key. Last thing before we let you go, are you able to tell us how much money was raised for the eye department, or is that top secret news?
It's not top secret. I have to admit that as I was not involved in the organization,
Sure.
though you try to lead me to this point,
Right.
I have no clue whatsoever what is the total amount of money. I know it's about 50,000 shekels or more, but
great.
I'm not sure absolutely about the exact amount.
All right. Well, that's a great amount of charity to the eye department, and hopefully that will get some good things done. And we certainly appreciate your time, Alon. And
It's my pleasure, and I would like to use the opportunity that you have so much audience in the States to invite the golfers in the United States to come and visit Israel and to help us to promote this sport because Jewish and non-Jewish, by the way, but we'll be delighted to have golfers from the States with us, and they are more than welcome to contact the Israeli Golf Federation or one of the clubs, and we will support them to come and visit, and we are looking for other golf clubs in the States that wants to have contact with golf clubs in Israel, and we will assist it because we believe that the Jewish community or general golfers community in the States can support the golf in Israel in any aspect and promote the golf in Israel.
all right, that was a great commercial. And and I'll leave you with the fact that since you put that out there, I want to join you guys to play some golf. I haven't played in a while, and I want to play. So hopefully, I can join and play with you guys.
Ari, tell me the places, the time that you want to play. I will invite you to my club. You are my guest.
All right.
I will give you a temporary handicap to check how good are you.
Yeah.
And you have also a burger afterward with a beer.
All right. Okay. Well, that'd be worth the trip alone.
It's
All
a
right.
deal. It's
All
a
right.
deal.
Sounds good. All right. I'll take you up on that
Great.
alone. Thanks so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Be well and have a good night. We'll speak with you soon.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Alon Granot here on Louis Live talking about the recent golf tournament that helped benefit the Afula Eye Department. 50,000 shekels raised. That's pretty good stuff. Quick break. On the other side, a little bit of negative news in the sport of American football. Ray Rice beats his future wife, and now he's out of a job. We'll talk about that on the other side with Andy Dorf. This is Louis Live on TLV1. All right, back here on Louis Live. Now, my last guest of the program, this is a real treat. We've had him on several times back on Israel Sports Radio. First time on this show on TLV1. Back on the program, the Dorf man from Dorf on Sports, Andy Dorf. Andy, welcome back.
Thank you, Ari. Appreciate it, brother. Always a pleasure talking to you. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have so much to get to, not enough time. But let's start first. The biggest story in sports right now, Ray Rice. The video is out of him assaulting, at the time, his fiancée. Now they got married. She still married him after that. And originally a 2-game suspension. Now the Ravens have released him entirely. His contract is voided. Tell us the difference, why there was him kicked off the team. Not that I'm against that, but tell us why the change occurred.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. You're going to get unfiltered from me here, and this is something that really irks my nerve quite a bit, to be honest with you. This thing was handled awful in the first place. Roger Goodell, one of the more power-hungry guys I've ever met in all of sports, decided to really drop the ball on this one, if you ask me. You know, a 2-game suspension was absolutely ridiculous. And the truth of the matter is I don't care when the video came out as far as being able to see what he did yesterday. We all knew that he beat the girl up. And so in the first place, this was handled very awful. He should have been suspended probably all year in the first place. And to be honest with you, if he would have taken it in that matter, maybe it would have been a little bit different at this point. But I don't think Ray Rice ever sees an NFL football field again. To be honest with you, Ari,
wow.
And rightfully so. To be quite frank, when you put your hands on a woman, you are not a man. To be honest with you, and I don't care what kind of incident or anything that happens. There is no way in the world that you should ever put your hands on a woman. So when the news broke months ago, we all knew that he beat her up then. I don't understand the whole point of, well, now we've seen the footage and therefore it makes it worse. No. Well, what makes it worse is that they handled this thing terribly in the first place. So Ray Rice got what he deserved, and this morning his wife, comes out and is protecting him and saying that the media has ruined their life. No, here's the deal, man. When you go and you do stupid things like this and there's video evidence, the media is reporting the facts and the evidence. It's their problem that they ruined their own lives. So I got a real problem with her. I got a real problem with Ray Rice. These people need help.
Yeah, now, this is the thing we've seen time and time again, especially with athletes, these women that are abused by them. I hate to sound like Dr. Phil or a soap opera, but, you know, she was hit by him while she was pregnant. You think she would leave, but instead she married him and now is defending him. So try to Freud this out for us, Dorf, man. What exactly is going on with Mrs. Rice?
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the deal, man. They live a lifestyle, or they were living a lifestyle, of the rich and famous. And you know what? That's all going to be taken away from them. Every time they go out in public, people are looking at them now and saying, oh, that's Ray Rice, and that's his wife that he beat up. How is she even with him? So it puts them in a lot different spotlight than before. You know, Ray Rice had a pretty good thing going. He was living out a childhood dream. Let's not kid ourselves. He was playing a game in which he loved and he grew up playing. And it's an honor and a privilege. At the end of the day, it's an honor and a privilege to be a professional athlete. And when you go out and you do what he did, there's no place in society for that, man. And you get what you deserve. So I have no compassion for her at this point anymore, you know, because she's defended the guy that beat her up. And at the same time, like you said, then goes out and gets married to this guy, and then this morning is protecting him again. It's denial in the most major way that you could ever put it. So I just think that, again, they need help. They probably shouldn't be together, but they're going to be together. And at the end of the day, it's just an ugly, ugly situation. Ray Rice got what he deserved, and the media, as far as I'm concerned, in a lot of cases, I'll be honest, I am against what the media does because they try to probe and they try to get things out. In this case, it's different. I mean, look, they waited several months before actually, well, from what we know about seeing this video today, or yesterday, I should say. But the truth of the matter is we knew months ago that Ray Rice beat up his girlfriend in that elevator. And the truth of the matter is it was handled so poorly, and this was an attempt by Roger Goodell and the NFL to save themselves by doing what they did most recently. So I'm not happy with the NFL. I'm not happy with Roger Goodell. And what's even more sickening when you really think about it is the Baltimore Ravens months ago had his back. And then 2 days, yesterday, they dumped him. So how does that make them look? I mean, everybody failed miserably on this one, Ari.
Now, in the suspension context, I'm kind of confused in that Goodell gave him a 2-game suspension. Wells Welker got a 4-game suspension for taking something perhaps on accident. Is there a need to have some type of suspension committee that can get these suspensions right, where you have justice meted out, and then you don't have such an embarrassment to the sport of the NFL, which, in my opinion, is when it's done right, it's probably the best sport in the United States. So will there be some type of committee to get these punishments melted or dealt out correctly?
You know, that's very tough because you got the collective bargaining agreement. You know, these guys, they're a team and they're a unit, and they're changing the drug policies quite a bit. I mean, in a weird way, it's almost offensive what they're doing with that as well. You know, they're going to allow a lot bigger traces of marijuana in these guys than before, and I got to say, I think that's setting a terrible example for the younger generation coming up and saying, hey, you know, it's okay to be doing drugs and whatnot. And I don't agree with it at all. I think that right now, that they need to really clean a lot of things up. And they will. It'll happen, but it's just the process in which it took to get there. And again, it took a video from TMZ showing what they did yesterday for the NFL to make the proper adjustment. But again, I think that the timing was terrible because it was already done, and you really can't change the fact of what he did, but they tried to just give him a slap on the wrist. And again, it was handled so terribly, Ari. I can't even think about what Roger Goodell is thinking about himself right now because, truthfully, he dropped the ball. And those situations you're talking about with the drugs and whatnot, look, they're all bad. But in a real sense, this is about as bad as it can get. When you physically abuse somebody, it's so ugly and so terrible that I don't think that whatever decision that they were going to make was going to be the wrong one because they didn't handle it right in the first place.
I'm also curious. I mean, sure, Ray Rice is not going to take this sitting down. He is a professional athlete. What's his channels as far as appealing, being kicked off the team? I mean, if the team doesn't want him there, he can't really do much about it, but could he try to get some of the money back from his contract? Again, not hoping that he does so. And you said that you don't think he'll play an NFL game again. What are the odds that maybe a team like the Raiders, they want someone like that, you know, a goofball? Any chance at all that he hops on another team at some point?
I really find it hard to imagine that Ray Rice will ever see an NFL football field again. I do. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. You look, Michael Vick. I'm going to compare the two in the sense of what Michael Vick did is he was incarcerated. He did his time for the crime of what he did. Ray Rice got away scot-free, and you know what? Ultimately, what they did is they're kicking him out of an organization, again, where it's a privilege and an honor to have the ability to step on a professional field. They did that to Michael Vick as well. He did his time, and in all honesty, I don't have any issues with Michael Vick. Ray Rice, though, I would really hate to see the guy ever play football again. It would pain me, to be honest with you. And I think that they have to be a better judge of character than the Baltimore Ravens were in the first place of having the guys back after everything was said and done months ago. They totally had his back, and they said he's going to counseling, and he's they're working on their relationship. It doesn't matter. All that stuff is nonsense. The truth of the matter is he does not deserve the ability or the privilege to ever step out on a field, as far as I'm concerned, and to make the kind of money that he was making. There's no place in society for somebody like that. It doesn't fit, man.
All right, get to speak with Andy Dorf from Dorf on Sports. We're going to stick with the football theme and talk a little more positivity right now. Arizona Cardinals, Monday Night Football, get the win, 18-17. They come back, they get the W. And as a Cardinals fan, they're in a tough division in the West with the Seahawks and the 49ers. What handicap the odds of them getting one of those wild card spots or even winning the division and going to the postseason this year?
Tough, really tough. Let's be honest. Like you said, there's two teams in front of them, Seattle and San Francisco, who are very good football teams. The Cardinals looked okay in the second half last night, late in the ball game. They were able to get it together, and they were what I liked most, to be honest with you, was the way that Bruce Arians went about the final minutes of that ball game. He played to win. You know, he didn't do what normal teams do and play that stupid prevent defense and let guys run up and down the field on him. He went after him every single play with the house, you know, and brought pressure. And as far as I'm concerned, pressure busts pipes. And you saw Phillip Rivers last night look like a scared little girl out there or a scared little boy who was just, under fire all the time there. That was impressive, to be honest with you, Ari. So I give a lot of kudos to Bruce Arians and the way that he managed the last few minutes of that ball game. You know, they didn't get the two-point conversion, so all San Diego had to do was kind of march up the field, 60 yards or so to put themselves in position to kick a field goal. But he really took a beastly-like approach, if you ask me, and brought the house several times and put so much pressure in Phillip Rivers' face that he just looked terrified out there. So I give a lot of credit to the way that Bruce Arians handled the last few minutes of that ball game, because a lot of guys take the different route and they let teams just run up and down that field and play a stupid prevent defense, which to me is actually one of those defenses where I say you're preventing yourself from winning.
Right.
He took the other route, and I really, really found that to be very cool, and I like the guy's approach. A very good mentality from Bruce Arians last night.
And Michael Floyd, great game. And, Michael Floyd, we're not sure. I mean, he come out of Notre Dame, a lot of hype around him. Is this his year where he has the breakout year and really, really steps on the national scene?
Yeah, I think he is going to be a pretty solid receiver. You saw last year where he grew quite a bit. A lot of teams are going to be doubling Fitz, obviously, and Roberts is a very capable receiver as well. Obviously had a big play there late in the game, but I'll tell you what, Michael Floyd, a big guy, a strong guy, not afraid to get hit, and absolutely, this could be a seriously a very strong year for him and a coming out year for him too, for sure.
All right, the Thursday night game, I found this very fascinating. Seahawks destroy the Packers 36-16. The defense, probably the best in the NFL, so I'm not so shocked they held the Packers 16 points a little bit because of Aaron Rodgers. I'm more impressed that they scored 36 points. And the Seahawks could be, I said before, people might not like them so much, but this could be a 3 out of 4 year dynasty. They have a young quarterback. They have a young defense. So talk about what do you expect out of the Cardinals division rival this year.
I'll tell you what, Seattle's phenomenal, man. In every facet of the game, let's not kid ourselves. Russell Wilson is just fantastic. This kid is one of those guys who's just a gamer. He's a winner, and he goes out there and he makes great decisions. I love the way that he has such good control of what he's doing out there. I'm not a huge Pete Carroll fan. However, the guy seems to have remarkable ability to relate to his players and get them to go out there and do what they can. So as far as that goes, he's doing a great job. Defensively, yeah, they're great, man. Let's not kid ourselves there either. They've got really good linebacker play. Obviously, we know about Sherman. He's one of the best, if not the best in the game, at closing people down on the outside. And, he did look, they are a very, very good football team, and I agree with you. This is not an aberration. This is a team that's going to be around for a while. They could win 3 out of 4. I already predicted. I mean, my Super Bowl prediction this year was Seattle and or them playing like a Denver or New England. So I've got Seattle in the Super Bowl already, and I think they're going to get there. I really do.
And of course, Pete Carroll can relate to his players this time around better than at USC because he's legally allowed to pay the players this time. So,
yeah, I mean, look, again, I'm not a huge Pete Carroll fan. I really am not. I think the guy is somewhat shady and whatnot, but at the end of the day, you know what? It's about winning. He gets those guys to perform at a very high level, and they're a very good football team. So he's doing his job as far as I'm concerned with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, and if he didn't know that Reggie Bush was living in a house, I mean, how's he supposed to know everything? Whatever. He's not his keeper or whatever. But anyway,
well, hey, that's a whole other story. I mean, let's be honest. When guys in college are getting away with things and these guys act like they don't know, the Penn State situation, that was awful. They know what's going on. I don't believe any of that stuff. So at the end of the day, it's it goes back to that old cliche. If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Right.
So most of these guys, they're cheating in some way, shape, or form, and it's a matter of whether they get caught or not.
All right, Dorf, we got to go in about 30 seconds, though, real quick. Tell everyone who listens to my show how they can listen to your show and listen to you.
They can always check me out on sportsbylineusa.com. My show airs from 8 till 10 in the morning, Sundays, Pacific time. So I'm not quite sure what time that will correlate out there in the motherland, but we are on from 8 to 10 in the morning in the Valley of the Sun, which is Pacific time, and it's sportsbylineusa.com.
All right, Dorf, man, this is great, and we got to do it more often. Thanks so much for being on the show tonight.
Absolutely, brother. And you know what? We got to get you on my show, too. So
Amen.
Well, let's definitely talk, and let's keep this thing going, brother.
Absolutely, we'll do that. All right, thanks so much, Dorf. Be well.
Take care. You too, my man.
All right, peace out. And, of course, that show, if you want to do the calculation, if you didn't, 8 to 10 Pacific time is 6 to 8 Israel time. If you want to go to sportsbylineusa.com and check out Dorf's show. And if you're listening just now and you're wondering what does that have to do with Jews or Israelis when I talk about NFL, there's a lot of Jews who watch the NFL and a lot of Jews who bet on the NFL, so it is related. That's the end of our program tonight. I want to thank everyone for listening and everyone who came on the show. Mark Gordon at the top of the program talking about the big Interfaith soccer game that the Pope sponsored, featured Maradona, almost featured Messi, and hopefully we'll see more of these games to come. Josh Halickman, the sports rabbi, saying that Sofo, the big man from Maccabi Tel Aviv, was about 20 kilos overweight, could not make the trip to Germany. Rama Yilzari talking about the run on November 14th for raising awareness for PTSD. Hopefully that race is successful. Alon Granot playing in the charity golf tournament to raise 50,000 shekels for the Fula Eye Department. And Andy Dorf saying that Ray Rice is a jerk. Stay tuned for a lot of great programming, a lot of great stuff. But that's it for tonight. God bless and good night.